In 1977, the New York Times put a drug lord on its cover. Three-piece suit, designer shades. Headline, Mr. Untouchable. That man was Leroy Nicky Barnes, the kingpin of Harlem's heroin trade. He had rules, lieutenants, luxury cars, even a council of crime bosses modeled after the mafia. He ran his empire so clean, so corporate, the feds couldn't touch him for years. Until they did. And in the ultimate twist, Nicky Barnes, Harlem's boss of bosses, didn't just fall. He burned the whole kingdom down on his way out. Council members, mistresses, even his wife. When loyalty broke, so did the silence. This is the story of how power made him untouchable and how betrayal made him unforgettable. Nicky Barnes, the flashiest, fiercest, and most unforgiving of them all. If you missed part 1 on Bumpy Johnson or part 2 on Frank Lucas, hit pause and come back. Otherwise, buckle in. Nicky Barnes was born in Harlem in 1933. His father, an alcoholic who beat him. His home, a war zone. He ran away young and hit the streets harder than most. By his teens, he was already in and out of jail for petty crimes. By his 20s, he was strung out on heroin and still dealing it. But it was prison that changed everything. Behind bars, he met members of the Italian mob, including Crazy Joe Gallo, who taught him how to turn a crew into a corporation. Barnes came out of prison in the late 60s with a new mission: build a drug empire, Harlem-made and mafia-trained. He wasn't just looking to get rich, he was building a kingdom with codes, rules, and control. By the early 70s, Barnes had become Harlem's heroin king. He partnered with the Lucchese family for supply, but ran distribution his own way, efficient, brutal, and everywhere. He formed the Council, a 7-man syndicate of Harlem's top dealers. It worked like a boardroom. Disputes settled internally, profits shared, territories managed. No street beef, no headlines, just millions. DEA estimates said Barnes had dozens of lieutenants, hundreds of mid-level managers, and over 1,000 street-level pushers. He was moving heroin from New York to Canada to Arizona. At his peak, he was making millions a year, owning Bentleys, mansions, even 300 custom suits. And while Frank Lucas was importing dope directly from Asia, Nicky Barnes outsold him with volume and structure. The nickname Mr. Untouchable came after he beat multiple cases, taunted the DEA, and kept Harlem in a chokehold. But in 1977, his pride made a mistake. He posed for the New York Times in full gangster glam. Front cover, national stage. That photo was the beginning of the end. President Jimmy Carter saw the Times cover and lost it. He ordered the Justice Department to take Barnes down, fast. The feds doubled surveillance, wired up informants, and struck gold. That same year, Barnes was indicted on drug conspiracy charges. By 1978, he was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Still, Barnes held his code. That is, until he found out his counsel had betrayed him. His lawyers weren't getting paid. His operations were being stolen. And worst of all, his protege, Guy Fisher, was sleeping with Barnes's mistress. A direct violation of the council's rules. That was it. Nicky Barnes, the boss, became Nicky Barnes, the informant. From prison, Barnes gave the feds 109 names, including 5 council members and his own wife. He testified in trials that put 16 major traffickers behind bars. He admitted to 8 murders on the stand. And thanks to his cooperation, Guy Fisher, his former number 2, got life with no parole. By the early 80s, Barnes had helped dismantle the very empire he built. And in 1998, after 21 years locked up, he was released under witness protection, with a new name, in a new state. No Bentleys, no suits, just a quiet man working retail, haunted by his own legend. Leroy Nicky Barnes lived out his final years as a ghost, hidden in America's suburbs, unknown even in death. He died in 2012 of cancer, his passing unannounced for 7 years. Once a billionaire of the streets, he ended up flipping burgers and filing tax returns. He claimed he was reformed, said he preferred the quiet life. But the truth? Even in hiding, he made sure his story would be told. A documentary, a memoir, even a final sit-down with Frank Lucas. 2 giants of Harlem's darkest empire, swapping war stories like old CEOs. He wasn't just a kingpin. He was the king who torched his own throne and watched it burn from the shadows. So what do you think? Was Nicky Barnes a villain, a visionary, a snitch, or just a man playing his own rigged game? Drop your thoughts in the comments. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope you learned some.